a lot of people didn't understand our parents, especially my father.
Kind of go on that a little bit, maybe.
Well,
For the sake of the second and third cousins that we have, who never had a chance to meet Yaya and Papu. I mean, I did, and I was very young.
yeah,
Maybe a little bit on
Right.
their experiences. I know
Right.
from
right.
the depression.
If this should really go on the record, when my father came here from Greece, he came here with the idea that he was going to escape the poverty in Greece. And he also had his mother over there, and his father over there, and his sister over there. He came over here, he didn't know English. He had to depend on other people. And it was a culture shock.
Mm-hmm.
Now, those who look back from this present generation and listen to some of the accounts of his behavior can pass judgment on him. But they don't understand. They have a problem understanding what he went through and the success he had. You know, I would recommend for you young people to get some of these documentaries on the Depression.
Mm-hmm.
You will see there that parents were asking their children to leave home. They were begging them to leave home because they couldn't feed them. You ever hear of the hobos? The hobos?
Mm-hmm.
Hobos were young guys that had a hoe, and they would go through the country. They get on the railroad,
Mm-hmm.
railroad cars, and they go through the country, and they get off the cars at different towns, and they go to people's homes in the back end and say, "We'll hoe your garden for something to eat."
I never knew that.
Yeah,
Hobos. Okay.
you can get these documentaries. You owe it to yourself.
Yeah.
Go to the library and get these documentaries on the Depression. You'll get a feeling for that.
Mm-hmm.
My father never even entertained that idea.
I believe it.
And he had 4 kids,
Mm-hmm.
boys,
Mm-hmm.
and the first generation
Yeah.
of children. And he always was meticulous about paying his bills, about being honest. He was under a lot of stress.
Mm-hmm.
We used to have a milkman deliver milk to the house in these big cans. In those days, they had them in these big cans because we
Mhm.
drank a lot of milk. One thing my father was concerned with was our health,
Mm-hmm.
and we turned out to be pretty healthy. He saved a lot of money on medical bills because of that.
Mm-hmm.
He had 2 milkmen delivering milk, one in the front door and one in the back door. And he knew eventually he was going to pay. But in the meantime, his kids were going to have milk. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, we can look back using the present as a perspective that gives a person a warped view of things. Follow me?
Mm-hmm.
It took me a while to get started here,
You're doing fine.
but I'm trying to get this across because I'd like for people in this generation now to be able to appreciate that what we have right now in these family reunions was started then.
Right.
Whether they can see the connection or not, he laid the foundation for a strong family. During that time, we lived in Lowell, Gorham Street.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some families that were able to, young children want to play. They want to play. Well, what was in then were roller skates. And you took these roller skates and you screwed them on your shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw kids playing with those roller skates up and down the street. My mother and father saw us looking out the window and watching these kids.
Mm-hmm.
And they could see that we wanted roller skates,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they did the best they could to get enough money to buy us roller skates.
Mm-hmm.
And they bought them for us. They got them for us during the Depression years when all that stuff was going on. So, and my brother Titus broke his front tooth. You can see that it's been repaired.
Mm-hmm.
That same tooth is there, I think. I think it's the same tooth. On those roller skates. He fell down. You can ask him. Going up and down Gorham Street. In about 3 or 4 weeks, we were over that excitement about roller skates, and they were just in the stairway, the hallway, on the floor, and I remember my mother saying, "Would you get those roller skates out of here?" See, all the pain they went through to get them for us. And we weren't old enough to understand the pain they were going through. You know? So I feel that our way of assessing the past should include these little things, so that we can get a broader picture. See, young people, they get to a certain age, right? They don't have to put the food in the refrigerator. They go there and there's food there.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about putting a mattress, bed sheets on the mattress, and paying the rent, so on and so forth. So during that period of time, they can see all the faults in their parents. And they romanticize, when I get married, my marriage is going to be different. But it turns out that reality sets in after they've been married. And a lot of the marriages today are failing for that reason. They can't accept the fact that they were wrong in making those negative assessments of their parents. They cannot ever repay their parents, no matter how cruel they think their parents were, for where they happen to be now. I find myself preaching here, and I don't want to do that.
That's all right.
But I am. You asked me my feelings, my opinion.
It's pretty good history here.
Yeah. I could talk on for an hour. I can see that there's another question coming up. Commitment.
Okay.
One word is commitment. My father. My father was very loyal. You know, my mother would never, ever suspect my father's loyalty to her. And I remember, I guess I ought to add this too. My mother was a lot younger than my father, about, I guess, 16 years younger or whatever. And so there was kind of like a significant age difference. And my mother also knew English. My father depended on her. She also knew French. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, my mother knew French.
They knew they could depend on each other for the responsibilities they were committed to.
Yeah.
And there was no question about their fidelity.
No question about it. Loyalty.
And it wasn't like they had to have a book tell them that they were right. That's just the way it was.
Good.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.